Hey guys, it's Connor, and today we're going to be talking about a very sad subject, or at least a sad subject for me. Some would argue it's the biggest tragedy of the modern century. You know, Macbeth wishes, Shakespeare wishes he could write something so tragic. And in a weird way, this video is going to be somewhat of a eulogy. That, of course, today's topic is being the current state of the DCEU. For those of you who don't know, I'm a diehard DC fanboy, right? These characters have an extremely special place in my heart due to the fact that these fictional characters at a certain point in my life, along with certain members of my family, became my role models and heroes that even to this day I still aspire to be like, right? Superman taught me how to be a man of tomorrow. He taught me to strive and implement the ideals every human should follow, how to find the good in humanity, right? Batman taught me that sheer will can help you persevere through whatever your own personal trauma is, and that sometimes your anger can be used for good and for something positive, right? Wonder Woman taught me how to be a warrior. Green Lantern taught me, how to hope, right? I love these characters so much that after the MCU put out the very first Avengers movie, I always knew it was only a matter of time before DC would try their own hand at their own cinematic universe. And back then, I was gullible enough to think that it was a matter of time before DC would become better and surpass the MCU, given that in the comics, DC has always been the better comic book brand, right? They've had the better heroes and they've had the better stories. But now in the year 2022, my assumption really couldn't be further from the truth. A part of me really didn't want to make this video because for me, this disaster of a cinematic universe that WB keeps trying to make work just makes me sad. It really does. I mean, I'm essentially watching WB destroy my favorite group of fictional characters right in front of my eyes. And instead of them trying to reverse course and fix what they broke, because they did break it in the first place, they just seem hell-bent to make sure that it keeps breaking. And it's to the point where a hardcore DC fan like myself wants nothing to do with the brand anymore. But why am I making this video? What's the big deal, Connor? Well, literally just on January 1st, as the new year started, Grace Randolph, who is a popular YouTuber with an extremely spotty track record of breaking Hollywood movie news, reported some new gossip for the upcoming Flash movie and how it's about to change the DCEU as we know it so far. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So this is how the tweet reads. As I've told you, with update, #TheFlash, Batfleck's final appearance, old footage of Henry Cavill used on a TV, a new Justice League is formed, Supergirl is the new Superman, Keaton working with Black Canary, picks Batgirl as the new Batman. This is the new DC. Let's be open-minded and give it a fair shot. The Keaton, Black Canary, Batgirl stuff obviously happens within the Batgirl movie for clarity. Okay. All right. I think I'm gonna get a little angry. I think I'm about to Hulk out on these fools. Where do I start? Let's start with Ben Affleck. So Ben Affleck leaving is something that everyone knew was gonna happen, right? We've been known this. We've heard it since 2017 that he was done with the role, with the reasons varying from his frustrations with WB internally, right? There was a lot of news that came out during the production of BVS and Justice League that he had a lot of trouble with the scripts. He thought a lot of them were pretty bad, along with WB turning down his solo Batman script that he turned in, along with his obvious personal issues that have now been made public, like his divorce and alcoholism. However, this news, right, this rumor, this news, whatever we want to call it, doesn't really bother me that much, given that Ben Affleck was going through something during these past few years, and I don't necessarily blame him for wanting to quit the role because it probably reminds him of a lot of those bad times. I know it must suck for him, given that he's quite the Batman nerd. In the early days of Kevin Smith's Fatman on Batman podcast, He used to tell stories about how when he and Ben used to hang out, they talk a lot about Batman and how great of a character they both thought he was. But for the short amount of time he was Batman, I personally thought he played a pretty good, seasoned Dark Knight. And for the most part, he's unanimously considered to be one of the few saving graces of the Snyderverse, despite some issues I do have with his depiction. Overall, of course, it's disappointing, but it's not surprising, not in the slightest. So no more sad Affleck memes. I guess just midlife Phoenix tattoo, midlife crisis Affleck now. All right, I'm going off script on this one because I kind of need to. I need to give y'all that raw emotion, right? And all right, so the old footage of Henry Cavill used on a TV, right? People are assuming that means that he's essentially being sunsetted, right? Which makes sense if Supergirl is going to be the new Superman, right? That is what Grace Randolph has reported on. And if that's true, I think that's a complete misstep. And I think that's going to be a decision that they regret moving forward. Because Superman as a character over at WB, clearly in the modern era, they have no idea what to do with. Which sucks because he's amazing. Superman's a great character. And especially right now, in these modern times, where everything is crazy, and it's been crazy for the past 2 years, you need the man of tomorrow. You need someone to deliver hope to the world, to humanity. But no, WB, instead of trying to figure out and actually put in some work and make a good fucking script and give Cavill some justice here and give his just dues, I mean, they're basically saying, you know what, like, nah, we're all right, we're good, man, you can move on. Even though in multiple interviews since Justice League, since he's gone back for the Snyder Cut stuff, right, he has said, I would like to continue playing Superman. I feel like there's more I can do with the character. But instead, they're going to do Supergirl. Which, first off, so you're just going to shove Supergirl into this movie without explaining her origin or how she relates to her cousin? Yeah? That's what we're going to do? Okay. Yeah, there are proper ways that they could send off Superman. You could make this Cavill's last movie just like Affleck's, and you can either do sort of the all-star Superman ending, right, where Superman ends up dying, or you could do the current Superman run where he has to leave Earth and Jonathan Kent, his son, has to take over. In this scenario, it would obviously be Supergirl. You could do anything. You could do anything. You could do any of that, but no, you subjugate him to old footage of Cavill used on a TV? Like, what are we really doing here? You'll give Affleck an entire role within this movie, but you won't give Henry Cavill? Henry Cavill must have, like, hit on an executive's girlfriend over there or said something wrong, because it's pretty clear to me that, like, someone hates him over there. Really hates him. Because it just seems like they want nothing to do with him. And it's crazy because, obviously, Supergirl taking over as Superman is just kind of weird, given that they're just going to shove her into this movie. But also the rumors about J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates writing their own Superman story. And us not knowing, well, is that going to be its own thing, like Matt Reeves and the Batman? Or are they going to make that a part of the DCEU? Like, what is really going on here? And granted, this could all be, for nothing. I could be worrying about nothing, and Cavill may show up in Black Adam, right? But I highly doubt that. And to me, their mistreatment of Superman has continued to piss me off, because he is arguably your biggest character next to Batman, right? And I'm sorry, but, like, Supergirl isn't going to do the numbers a Superman movie is, right? I would happily take in Supergirl, right? I would happily, have her as the new super person within the DCEU, but you would have to properly send off Superman first, and you guys are just not doing that. So you're already starting off on a bad foot to already a bad universe where a lot of people already think you have bad movies. So, let's just continue this fucking shit show. We're really about to do this Michael Keaton shit too. Like, you know what? Like, I liked Michael Keaton in the 89 Batman movies. Like, those were fun. But like, he's 70 years old. I don't want to see him in the cowl. Like, I'd like to see a Batman Beyond project. That'd be cool. I'd like to see Terry McGinnis. Bring Terry in here. That'd be great. But like, making Batgirl the new Batman, once again, it feels shoved in. It feels a bit rushed. It feels like they haven't necessarily thought that out. I feel like if you were going to do that, that would be like a 2 to 3 movie process for Batgirl. Let alone, you know, we have no clarification on which Barbara Gordon is this. Is this Ben Affleck's universe's Barbara Gordon? Is this Michael Keaton's? Is this the Flashpoint universe's own Barbara Gordon? Like, what the fuck is going on? I just want some actual decent decision making. I want some consistency. I want you guys to make decisions that make sense, not have a fucking dartboard with random DC character names on it in different continuities, and you throw the darts at one at a time. You're like, well, that's what we're fucking going with. This is bullshit. This is bullshit for a lot of people who have waited their entire lives to see this shit. And if you think, if you couldn't get any of these movies really right, aside from a few, right? Like, I think Man of Steel is really good. I like Snyder's Justice League cut, right? I like Wonder Woman quite a bit. I think Aquaman is okay. I didn't really care for either of the Suicide Squad movies like that. But what makes you think that you're going to be able to do Supergirl justice? What makes you think that you're going to be able to do Batgirl justice? What makes you think that I trust you guys enough to do that? It just makes no sense. And it's really just proven to me that the MCU, it really is this anomaly within Hollywood, because they have a grip around the superhero genre in a way that DC will never have, right? DC's forever going to be playing catch up with the MCU, even though the MCU has laid out their formula, and as relatively simple as it seems, DC just can't seem to get their fucking head out of their ass. Whether that be because of sort of the buyout with like AT&T and Discovery, and it's like all these executives shifting, so maybe they don't necessarily maybe they're not necessarily unified yet, but like, this is not looking good. This is really not looking good. And I don't think I'm going to go see this movie. I really don't. I'm not going to put my clown makeup on this time and go to the theater and act like, well, maybe this is it. No, it's not. You know, the only promising thing that the DC continuity or universe, or whatever the fuck we're calling it at this point, has going for it is Matt Reeves' Batman movie, which I've made a video on my channel basically setting up what Matt Reeves is going for, along with being a bit of a love letter to Batman. And I think that movie's going to be great. At the very least, good, right? I don't think it's going to be bad at this point. I think the way that they're marketing it, I think the way the trailers have been represented, I think the way Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson have talked about it, I think that movie's going to be great. But maybe they should just keep doing that. Maybe they should just keep doing one-offs or separate trilogies. Because when it comes to mixing all of these characters together, they just can't do it. They really just can't. And I need someone to explain to me, like, how Matt Reeves was able to garner as much control, creative control, over this new Batman film, maybe possibly trilogy, as he has. Because it's crazy to me. Like, why can't you do that for all of your other films? Or why can't you find, you know, your quote-unquote Kevin Feige and, you know, find a cinematic style like the MCU has and put it like that for the rest of your movies? Because I just don't, I don't want to be a fucking old man by the time that you guys do a decent Justice League movie again. Like, because to me, that's crazy. It shouldn't be this hard, right? You have so much source material. You have so many talented Hollywood writers out there. You have so many talented directors out there that you guys keep hedging your bets that if you keep rushing and you keep doing these event movies, that eventually one of them's going to stick, and eventually you'll like be able to be like, oof, all right, wow, you know, like we took a risk on this, but you know, it's going to work out as we move forward. Like, it's not going to work out as you move forward. What is the big deal about taking your time? Like, it's not like you would really lose out on any of this money if, like, in the beginning you were so worried about losing all of this the superhero market to the MCU and losing all this money. You guys have the bigger and more popular characters. You would have made the money regardless. So what is the reason for these dumbass fucking decisions? Is it really you guys are just so inept? Is it really that you guys are just going based off of certain analytics? Like, what is really going to change in this new era of the DCEU moving forward, right? Because as far as I can see, it's the same old shit. It's the same old weird, like, I guess we're going to see if this works type of shit. And you know what? Like I've said in this video the entire time, I'm tired of it. I'm done with it. If the only way that I'm going to get decent representation of these characters is by separate trilogies and separate one-off movies, then just fucking do that. Please, just do that. Because I really can't take this anymore. You're embarrassing DC fans out there, and it's crazy. It's legit nuts, man. And you guys seeing no problem with that is the problem. You have your heads shoved up your asses so far that you guys can't even see that the movies you are making aren't good. And it's crazy. Like, you'll sit there and you'll erase, because technically this would erase a bunch of the decisions made for the Snyderverse, right? You'll sit there and erase anything Zack Snyder touched, because at least he had a vision, right? At least he had an idea of where to take these characters. And guess what? The Snyder Cut, when it came out, it embarrassed WB. It made them look stupid, especially in comparison to the 2017 Justice League Joss Whedon cut, because that's an awful, awful movie. Like, it's a night and day difference with the Snyder Cut, right? And like I said, I'm not the biggest Zack Snyder fan. I have problems with some of the way that he depicts the characters, right? Like, I would do some things differently if I was in Zack's shoes. But at the end of the day, at least he was able to provide something somewhat competent and somewhat, and somewhat, to the source material that this is based off of. But hey, what do I know? I'm just some idiot with a small YouTube channel, right? That's just been a DC fan for 26 years. All right, well, hey, if you stayed this long to listen to me rant and ramble, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Check out my other content if you're new here. I do weekly content every Friday. Normally video game related, but if there's some superhero news, I'm definitely going to talk about it. And be on the lookout for next week. I have a interesting Assassin's Creed video going up. So until then, stay groovy and have a good one.